Let me first start off today by letting you guys know that earlier today in Pokemon Go, I encountered a Galarian Moltres. You know, obviously I golden raspberried it, and I tried to get at least a great throw. So I threw my Pokeball, and I didn't even get a nice throw. So obviously it seemed like there was going to be no luck. And then to my surprise, I critical caught it. I got a critical catch, and today I got a Galarian Moltres in a regular Pokeball. IVs are terrible, but who cares? I got a Galarian Moltres today. Finally, after all these years since the Galarian birds have come out. And also, here's that screenshot for the 0 IV Ekans and Shiny Onyx I mentioned before. So I got a Galarian Moltres today in Pokemon Go in a regular Pokeball. All because I got a critical catch. All these years, after numerous failed Galarian birds, because I only use a regular Pokeball when trying to catch them, I finally caught my very first Galarian Moltres in Pokemon Go today. In a Pokeball, thanks to a critical catch. That makes 2 out of 3. I have a Galarian Zapdos in a Pokeball. Now I have a Galarian Moltres in a Pokeball. I'm only missing Articuno. And as the trend continues, it's going to take me another couple of years before I get it. Man, you should have seen my face when I caught it today with a critical catch. I wish I was screen recording, you know? How many people have you seen online catch a Galarian bird with a critical catch? In a Pokeball, nonetheless. Damn, I really wish I would have screen recorded it, but I didn't know it was going to happen. I mean, one would argue that's why you record all the time, right? Can I be honest? I don't know how to record my phone screen. I think there's an app for it. So yeah. A Galarian Moltres today. IVs are horrible, but who cares, right? Who knows how many potential hundo Galarian birds that I failed just because I didn't Master Ball it. Instead, I golden raspberried regular Pokeballed it. So, who knows? So today we are back to our regularly scheduled program. So today we have a handful of shows to discuss. For today's agenda, today's itinerary, we have got the newest episode of Beast Games. I don't know when it came out. I think it came out a couple days ago. So we have an episode of Beast Games. We have the episode of From and Secret Level that I was supposed to discuss several days ago. And then finally, earlier today, I watched the very first episode of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So I have those 4 to talk about today. More like 3 since Secret Level is going to be pretty fast. Isn't it crazy that, you know, the Galarian birds are more rare than Hundos and Nundos? Because now I only have 2. I only have 2 Galarian birds, and yet I have, like, over a dozen. I think just, like, maybe 2 dozen Hundos and even less 0 IVs. Probably should have checked how many I had before this. I still can't believe it. A critical catch. You know, it wasn't even the extra small excellent throw. It was just a random critical catch. Also, today was also in Pokemon Go Gigantamax Kingler Raid Day. I honestly didn't even know it was today, so I didn't even do a single raid. Instead, what I did was I used the Max Particles to completely power up my Hundo Dynamax Grookey. Well, because I needed something to level up, otherwise the Max Particles would go to waste. I still have yet to find even a single shiny Galarian bird. One day. Statistically, one day it will happen. Someday. I'm also still shiny hunting for Feebas via Masuda method and BDSP. Not a single shiny yet. And what's crazy is, I have a 50-50 shot to get the one I want, which is female. So if I get a male one, I'm not evolving it. I want it to be female. So earlier today, just around when work was starting, I ran into someone who, I knew from high school. And, well, he was with his group of friends who I don't know, and I demonstrated point blank my stupidity. Because it was completely unexpected that I ran into him. So I got him confused with someone else, I got him confused with the person I met at college. Because I didn't realize they actually looked rather similar. So my dumbass confused the two. I'm just like, what do you mean you haven't seen me in like 4 years? You texted me just the other day. And it's like, oh wait, you're not even the same person I'm thinking of. Whoops. So the time I ran into him was about noon. And then he was saying like, he was lining up for something. I asked him, how long have you been in line for? He said like, I've been here for like a good 2 to 3 hours. I'm just like, bruh, you've been here since like 7 a.m.? Now, if you want to do quick and simple math, 12 minus 2 or 3 does not equal 7. So I demonstrated firsthand, point blank, right in front of his and his friend's eyes, just how much of an imbecile I am. He deservingly so, he even pointed it out. He was like, bro, that's not 12 minus 3 ain't 7. Man, I just had a silent shame just then. He was lining up to buy the stuff for his girlfriend as well, so it's like, well, no wonder someone tall and smart like him is taken and someone stupid and fat like me isn't. Throughout high school, me and him kind of stopped talking. Just because, well, he and his other friend, also from high school, obviously, he and his friend would constantly, mock me on how dumb I was, all the stupid stuff I would say. And, eventually I stopped talking to them. But it's like, well, I didn't hate them, it's just like, man, I'm sick and tired of you guys always mocking me. I kind of just don't feel like talking to you guys right now. But, after all these years, when I see him again and I'm still this blabbering idiot that he remembers, well, what can I really say, right? Clearly, I did not have a good impression on his group of friends, if I ever see them again. Man, I bet you afterwards as well, they were probably like, hey, that friend of yours we saw earlier today, he was a real dumbass, wasn't he? Can't even do simple math, confused you with someone else, like what an idiot he was. He probably would have been like, yeah, he was as dumb as I remember from high school. I don't like who I am. I don't like that I'm this way. But I can't just change who I am on a whim. Alright, I suppose let's just get started. Let's talk about this Beast Games episode first. If I'm not mistaken, this is episode 8? Because at the end of this episode, it even said 2 episodes left. And I'm pretty sure there are 10 episodes, so that should make this episode 8. Aren't you surprised I was able to count that, given my inability to do first grade math? That's not even first grade, that's like beginning of kindergarten levels of math. That's toddler, building blocks levels of math. Oh, the episode... Wait, let me see. Yeah, the episode came out 2 days ago. Oh. Alright, so episode 8 of Beast Games. So we see the aftermath, we see the result from the cliffhanger from the previous episode. Who did... Forgive me for not remembering names. Who did that lady pick for the final trolley problem? Well, she let her friend be eliminated just to get rid of that Dino guy. So, it was tough. It was a very tough decision. I certainly don't envy anyone in that position. So now we are down to the top 10. And, I also want to say, I'm not defending what Dino did, I'm just saying, damn, everyone gave him shit for that. Maybe a hint, rightfully so, but, I just imagine if it was, quote-unquote, me up there, if I was the person deciding the trolley, the person who has to pull the lever to decide who gets eliminated, and then, the person down there chooses the one and only Asian guy to be his, to be his hostage, I guess you could say. It's like, why'd you choose him? Is it because he's the only other Asian guy? Is that why you chose him? A part of me would almost feel more respect for you had you just blatantly said yes. Okay, so we are now down to the top 10. At first, Mr. Beast gave the people a scare. It's like, we were reviewing the footage. Can you please step forward? So we were reviewing the footage, and it looked like within that footage, Man, he juked us all. Juked the players, juked the audience, juked us all. Because at first I thought Mr. Beast was gonna say, technicality, you know, something went wrong. You were supposed to be eliminated unlike the other person. I thought that's what he was gonna go for, because obviously that's what I would be thinking. But no, he instead gave the top 10, the final 10, a very nice surprise. So then Beast went like, we reviewed the footage and it seemed like you really missed your family, so here they are. So he did that with everyone in the top 10. Invited all of their families over to, you know, show their love and support, cheer them on. More power to them. But I gotta say, the challenge for this one, it wasn't really a game, but it was more so a challenge. The challenge for this, I'm trying to think, like, do I see any potential lawsuit being placed here? If I really squint and dig deep, I guess. But you know, that's not the point of the discussion here. Alright, so, and also I can't help but notice, you know, the top 10 players, they were each given their own individual house to sleep in, alone. So the top 10 were all separated, and inside the house was barren. It was depressing. It looked terrible. No color, no furniture, all that was there was like a bed, a chair, and a light. It's like an entire house structure, and inside, just a bed, just a chair, no wallpaper, no wall paint of any color, no anything. It's like, damn. You couldn't have at least made it nice for them? These guys made it to the top 10, and you couldn't have at least made their sleeping arrangements look nice? For God's sake, the houses they slept in echoed, just because there was nothing in there. Nothing besides a bed, a chair, a light. It's like, damn, Mr. Beast, you couldn't have at least made it nice for them to live in? Even if it was just temporary, you could have at least made it nice to look at? I guess he, you know, spent too much money on the game itself. He ran out of budget. So, okay, so there are 10 people left, and there are now 10 houses. There's a giant mystery box in the middle of Beast City. So the game is, out of the top 10, whoever goes first. So in the middle of Beast City is a giant cube of $1 million. So 10 people, they go by order. They get to take however much they want. And then whatever's left, the next person gets to take however much, and so on, until player number 10. And inside was $1 million. So, if you divide that by 10, and if nobody was greedy, they would each get $100,000 and continue on. Now, the first lady, she had honor, she had integrity. She did indeed only take $100,000, and I'll be honest, if I was in that position, I would only go for my share. I would take only $100,000. I would. I honestly would. If, and I mean if, I decide to be greedy, I might take a little bit more. I'll take like 125,000, but that I would not go over. You know why? Because the more you take, the more people will likely vote you off, right? And if you play fair, they're gonna know you play fair, and they're gonna think you deserve your spot here in the top 10, or, you know, moving forward. So I would absolutely just take my share, my earnings, right? My portion, which is 10%. So I would have only taken 100,000. So, you know, the first lady, she took only her share, 10%. The second guy, I think he took like 223,000. So already the chain is broken. But it's the third guy. The third guy really dipped his toes into, you know, the pot of gold. And honestly, everyone gave him shit for it, despite, you know, claiming they understand. And yeah, I understand. Is it a shitty thing to do? Yes, but I still understand. He took 650,000 out of, what used to be $1 million. His reasoning was, his family, his kids, his family came first. He said he had mortgage and debt of 530,000. And he also made the argument that he's not guaranteed the 5 mil, right? So either he could continue with only 100,000 and risk not getting any more, or he can guarantee himself at least the ability to pay off all his debt and still have enough to at least live comfortably for a period. So, I don't blame him. Was it a shitty thing to do? Yes, but I don't blame him. I understand. You're not guaranteed the 5 mil, and this is your golden opportunity right here to make sure everything will be fine in your life. You pay off all your debt, and you have enough to live comfortably for a decent amount of time. He said he had 53,000. 53? 5. Did he say 53? No, he said 500. Right? I think so. Because if he said 53,000, why the hell would he take 650? So I'm gonna assume 53, 5,000. What? 530,000. So 530,000. And he took 650,000. So that would leave him an extra $120,000 to just, live comfortably with. So I can't blame him, even if it is a shitty thing to do. And hey, salute to that one guy who decided not to take anything, because he could sniff out Mr. Beast's trap. He knew that, the more you take, the worse it would be for you moving on. So seeing that, there wasn't too much money left, he decided not to take any of it. So, props to that guy. He may have secured himself in, the position to move forward. I don't know, the episode's not out yet for the conclusion. So, he may have secured himself a spot, but he did kind of screw himself at the moment with absolutely nothing. So, because the third guy, he took $650,000. And damn, even Mr. Beast was the way the episode was edited, painting him in a bad light as well. Because constantly showing footage of him crying, regretting his decision. Not really regretting, just, not liking what he had to do. So I think that left $27,000 left for the remaining 7 of them to divide. I feel like if I was there and I was left with that, man, I tell you, a part of me would have liked to take all of it. Just because if we did the fair math, we would all get 100K, but because I don't even have that chance, there's only 27K left, let me take the rest. But, she was fair. She divided that so that, everyone else could take something. So, good for her. Well, once everyone found out how much each person took, damn, fingers were being pointed at the one guy who took the 650. Everyone hated him. And I'll be honest, if I was there, I would have been pretty angry at him as well. Even though I understand, family comes first. not all of them are guaranteed the 5 mil, right? Only one person can win that. And you being in the top 10, well, the odds are kind of against you there. So I can't blame really anyone here. Well, I can blame the dude who took the 650 a little bit, you know? Even if I understand, I get it. It was a shitty thing to do, but I still get it. And, you know, I also can't blame anyone for being mad at him for it, too. Well, you know, now all the remaining 10 players, they were able to sleep on it, really let it marinate. Next day, dude who took the 650k, man, he even had the nerve to try to gather everyone together and try to pin the blame on others. Try to tell everyone else who, you know, weren't in their quote-unquote alliance. Like, let me tell... He was like, let me tell the rest of you. The 4 of us, we were in an alliance. You were the mastermind. You're plotting everything. You're playing everyone. Man, I can't lie. That only made him look even shittier. Trying to pin the blame, trying to shift the blame onto others. That really was not a good look. You really should have just tried to defend yourself. You know, try to make others understand more than they already have. But like shifting the blame to others, that was not a good look. Alright, so the game for the end of the episode, which is going to transition into the next episode. So, you know, back to the towers. You know, I don't want to say twin towers, because that'd be bad. The double towers. Each person has their designated location. There's 10 of them, but only 6 can progress. They have an hour, and the amount of money that they took, they can use that as bribes. So, you know, the dude who got nothing, the dude who took $0, good for him. It would be such a scummy turn of events if he didn't make it to the top 6. And the dude who took 650k, well, he even said it himself. No matter how much money he bribes with, nobody's gonna take it. Nobody's gonna vote for him. You know, nobody's gonna, you know, say to keep him in the game is what I meant. So, you know, it's give and take. You take guaranteed life-changing money, and you basically give up your chance to continue for, you know, like, geez, like what, 8 times that money? Almost sounds like gambling to me. So, you know, I would be more shocked if that dude stayed in the game moving forward instead of getting voted out. It would be hilarious if he actually managed to stay in the game. And, well, that's basically it for Beast Games, episode 8. You know, it really is hard to say. You basically, you know, make yourself the villain, guarantee yourself life-changing money. at the expense of everyone hating you, turning on you, and, you know, you giving up your chance at like 8 times that money. That's multi-generational wealth right there. But it's a gamble, once again. You don't take the life-changing money now, there's no guarantees you will win that money, right? It's almost like the saying, better safe than sorry. So, hey, he actually would have made it out of Beast Games with more than a good chunk of others. There were like how many players to begin with? 5,000? I don't think it was that much. Like 1,000? Or 2,000, I forget. Maybe it was 2,000. Let's say it was 2,000. 2,000 people. Like out of 2,000 people competing for 5 mil, you made it out with $650,000. That's not bad. It's no 5 mil, but it's also leagues better than what? $1,000? $2,000? $10,000? 650 mil. 650K? $650,000? Don't underestimate. That's a lot of money. That is indeed life-changing money. And dude had 530,000 in debt. So, you know, like, I don't know what percentage that is. 70% will be gone. $120,000 left over. That's still a lot to live comfortably. For now, you know? That money will go quick given inflation. Though, you know, hopefully that goes down thanks to Trump. That only applies to America, you know? Not really to Canada, at least not immediately. Let's say his kid's college tuition, it's like $8,000, $10,000 a semester. Let's say three semesters. That's like what, $20,000 to $30,000 right there. College is expensive, folks. And I think in the episode he had 2 kids as well. So yeah, that money is gonna burn through fast. It almost sounds like I'm trying to defend him. I'm just saying, I understand. I understood why he did it, even if it was a very shitty thing to do. I understand why everyone else was mad at him. At the same time, I also understand why he did it. I'm not defending him, I'm just saying I get it. Especially with that amount of debt, you know? Alright, so let me tell you guys something that let's face it, I have a shiny hunt in mind. I will likely do it. I will more than likely do it. It's just a question of when I'll get around to it. So I have this idea of a shiny hunt in mind. And spoilers, it's gonna be exactly the same as I'm doing right now. However, let me explain. So this is a hunt that has not been touched in like 8 years. Cause didn't Ultra Sun and Moon come out in like 2017? So yeah, 8 years. Back when these games came out, obviously my main copy of the game was Ultra Moon. I wanted to shiny hunt every legendary, including the ones in Ultra Sun, aka the version exclusives. But here's the thing, I only hunted the version exclusives in my main Ultra Sun copy. You know, that's why I never wanted to restart it, because that was my main copy. Thing is, all the other Ultra Wormhole legendaries in that game have never been hunted. All of the non-exclusives, so that means the Kanto Birds, Mewtwo, Rayquaza, the Lake Spirits, Regirock, Ice Steel, everything not version exclusive, like the legendaries, have not been hunted on my original main Ultra Sun copy. And I'm feeling like maybe after all these years, it's finally time I go back and I actually finish hunting all the legendaries in that game, instead of just the version exclusives. So I might do that. I might, you know, dust off my original Ultra Sun from 8 years ago and hunt all the remaining legendaries in that game I never hunted. The question is, when will I get around to that? Because I have a lot of other stuff to do. A lot of different shiny hunts I want to do. It's been, what, like 2 years, maybe, since I wanted to hunt for certain things in Let's Go, and I still haven't done that. Just because I don't want to. Of course I want to shiny hunt for them, I want to get the shinies. I don't want to play Let's Go, because those games suck. That's just my opinion. I know people like Johnstone really loved that game. And you know, that's not saying I'll never play Let's Go again. I'm going to have to. Especially when it comes to completing the home Pokedex, because at this moment I have like 15 out of 150 registered. So, you know, finishing up I already finished my Scarlet and Violet home dexes, obviously. I am 2 away from finishing my Sinnoh dex, which, you know, currently working on that by shiny hunting Feebas. Afterwards, I got the Hisui dex to finish. I got like 60 left. I am literally like single digits away from finishing my Galar dex. I never registered a Silvally. So I am literally in the single digits away from finishing my Galar dexes. And well, that leaves Let's Go. I bet you, I guarantee you that the prize for finishing the Let's Go dex will be a shiny Mew. It's obvious. There's literally only one option it could be, and it can only be shiny Mew. Imagine if it wasn't, though. Well, maybe it's time to change up the music a little bit. Alright, dude said he can join in 15 minutes, so I'll wait for that. I'll wait for him until I talk about From. You know, the whole reason I didn't talk about the episode previously is because he wasn't there. And the only reason I watched the goddamn show is because of him. Man, you know what I should do? While I wait for him, I got a video I still haven't watched yet. Actually, I got two, but I think I'm just gonna, yeah, I'm just gonna watch one. Oh my god. I am about to start watching Discalmel's President's Play, what, Luminescent Platinum, Part 3? While I wait for that guy to show up. Oh, you know what I need to do tonight? I need to remember to do? I need to take a steak out of the freezer. Because tomorrow my sister, she's not going to be eating at home. So we take advantage of that by having some nice food so that we don't have to cook any portions for her. So tonight I need to take a steak out the freezer, let it de-thaw in the fridge overnight, and then tomorrow morning, you know, salt it and let it dry brine in my fridge until nighttime when we cook it. I need to remember to do that. Ugh. You know, I'm checking my BDSP box right now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 8, 9, 10. I've hatched basically 11 boxes of Feebas, and I have just under 15 more boxes of eggs collected. Seems like I'm going to need all of them, because so far I don't even have one shiny yet, and I'm specifically going for a female, which is a 50-50. So I need all the eggs I can get. Well, that video's over, and this dude's still not here. I actually did have another one to watch. Game Producer 6's, President's Play Infinite Fusion part, I don't even know anymore. Part 19. Well, this guy's here now. Damn it, and we were so peaceful before he joined. Now I gotta talk about this show. Let's see if I can block the sound of the running water in my house. Alright, so from, I believe, episode 3 of season 2, it's been a couple days since I watched the episode, so my memory's a little hazy on it already. Oh yeah, it is episode 3. Alright, you ready for this goddamn discussion about this absolutely wonderful show, of which I have no complaints about? Because why would I? What complaints could I possibly have with this show? Alright, so following the previous episode, being episode 2 of season 2, which admittedly was actually a pretty good episode, well, now we take a complete 180 back to the boring, no action, non-stop discussions, moments that make absolutely no sense. We return to that. Let me tell you, folks, or rather, let me once again repeat myself. I would be less mad about this show if it weren't for a certain someone. Because let me remind you guys, I basically don't have that much spoiled about the show. Everything that I did have spoiled was an accident. A thumbnail, a video title, something getting recommended in my search. I never intentionally went out of my way to look up what's going on, what's going to happen. I never did that, unlike a certain someone who, did exactly that with the shows I recommended, and then quit the shows altogether. If not for that, I would be less mad about this show. What, nothing to say from that? Nothing to say about that? So yeah. I only have small things spoiled, and I don't even know exactly what the spoilers mean. Stuff like Tabitha's something that's coming up. Or... for the most part, that's about it. I mean, I got that one moment spoiled where Nathan lets in one of the monsters, but then again, it's like, I don't know the context around that. I don't know the aftermath from that. For the most part, I'm still left in the dark. I don't know what's happening. I don't really know what's coming up. So yeah, I would be less mad watching this show if a certain someone here didn't, you know, do worse when it came to the shows I recommended. So how did this episode even play out? It's been a couple of days, I don't even really remember anymore. If I'm not mistaken, this episode opened with Boyd back in town talking with Ellis. So, Boyd was trying to tell his son what happened. He went out into the woods with Sarah. That he jumped into this hollow tree, and then he ended up somewhere else. Ellis is just like, how did that happen? How is that possible? Fine, Dad, you don't want to tell me what happened out there? Fine, don't tell me. Seriously, Ellis, you're not going to believe him? I know it's hard to believe, but given where you're stuck at, the things that have happened to you, you're really not going to believe him. Really. So, as the scene was playing out, this is the first time we've seen Boyd speak with his son since the end of season 1. And I'm thinking like, okay, is he not gonna tell his father what he did since then? You know, asking a certain woman to do a certain ceremonial act with him? I'm just thinking like, are you not gonna tell your dad that? That seems like pretty big news to tell him. And then I find out he told him off screen. Feels like that would have been something big to show on screen, you know? For Ellis to tell his father, hey Dad, I know you're back. You probably went through some stuff out there, so let me tell you some good news. I proposed to Fatima and she said yes. It's like, I feel like that would have been something good to include in the damn episode instead of having that discussion off screen. You know, it would have been nice to see Boyd be a father, be like, son, I know you're young, you might be a little too young to do this right now, but given how we don't know what's going to happen, hey, I'm happy for you, son. It's like, you really did that off screen? Really? Felt like that would have been an important discussion to have, to actually see our characters discuss. Man. And that's not the only thing that happened off screen that would have been nice to see. Well, first of all, I may as well mention that Boyd is strangely with his son getting married at, I assume, a young age. But once again, the position they're in, may as well. And hey, Boyd being a father, he's just like, son, you could do better. You can do better with the ring instead of that wire you gave her. I like that. I like that moment of Boyd, you know, just being a father. Instead of all of it happening off screen. And another thing that happened off screen. So we continue with Jim. He's actually in the little infirmary. He already reunited with Tabitha and his kids. Damn, that would have been nice to see. How did they dig him out of the collapsed house? Right? Would have been nice to see all that stuff happen. Would have been nice to see Jim and Tabitha's reaction to seeing each other alive. Nope, all of it happened off screen. Man. But yeah, all that good stuff happening off screen. Notice how I'm not even talking about, death and gore and kills being off screen. I'm talking about moments where characters actually are together happening off screen. Because I tell you, one thing the show so far has been terrible with, and the one thing that a certain someone here despises with all his being, say it with me now, character depth, character development. Damn, God forbid we see characters in this show actually speaking. That is not just, pointless dialogue. I can't see Boyd be a father to a son. I can't see Jim and Tabitha being a married couple. Anyways, aside from all that, so as for the actual plot of the episode, so we see that Jim, obviously he's hurt. An entire house collapsed on him. He has like 3 broken ribs or whatnot, so he has to stay in the infirmary for a little bit. Kenny and Ellis, they're setting back up animal traps. Because we learned in season 1, they don't know where the animals come from. They just spawn in, Minecraft style. So, whenever a chicken shows up, they gotta catch it somehow. So they do the usual cartoon Tom and Jerry kind of trap. A little stick holding up a little container, a little crate. Once something gets lured in, they, pull the stick and they trap it inside. So, yeah, Kenny and Ellis do that. Or rather, they try to fix up the traps. One of the metal rods that were holding up the traps went missing, so they're looking around for it. Ellis, he kind of tagged along just so he could pick flowers for Fatima. And then in the woods, who did they see? What did they spot? They spot the girl from the previous episode. The couple who went into one of the houses and then the guy let in people at night. You can't blame him, he didn't know. Now, at first, like, the episode had a recap, and I thought, like, what they said were a red flag. Even though he didn't know the position he was in. So, he heard knocking at the door, it's like, please let us in, we were on a bus. Now, it's the way that sentence is phrased, we were on a bus. Because I'm thinking, like, wouldn't that be a red flag? If you picked it up, that is. Because these people, this couple, were on the bus as well. So if they were all on the bus together, wouldn't it be, please let us in, we were on the bus. We were on the bus just like you were. But then again, I'm thinking, like, if you tiptoe around it, fine. It was a tour bus. You don't know everyone there. And whoever's knocking on the door, you don't know if someone on the bus is inside. So you say, we were on a bus. We just got here, we were on a bus. We don't know if the residents of this building is a resident here or someone who was also on the bus with us. So, like, fine, I'll give it a pass. Me picking at that is honestly nitpicking. But whatever, moving on. So and I'll just say this, I rightfully assumed that guy letting the monsters in, they're both dead. And I once again rightfully assumed this girl was also dead. Because Kenny and Ellis, they found her pinned against a tree with the metal rod clean through her head. Realistically, you don't survive that. But yet somehow, she was alive. We find out her name is Kelly. Her boyfriend, Brian, At this part, is this an answer? Let me know, folks. Is this an answer to a question I've been asking since the first freaking episode? What do these monsters do? Do they hunt to eat? Do they hunt for sport? Like, do they hunt the humans for fun? So Kelly reveals that after her boyfriend Brian let those things in, you know, they didn't tear her open, but rather they made her watch. I assume they made her watch as they ripped her boyfriend apart. And then they dragged her out to the woods and they shoved a metal rod clean through her head, pinning her to a tree. Okay, so now we know the monsters clearly don't hunt for food. Otherwise, her chest cavity would have been hollowed out at this point. So do the monsters just hunt for fun? They made her watch. They dragged her out into the woods, and they didn't kill her. Well, they tried to. You know, they didn't kill her in the way that we've seen them before. Instead, they impaled her through the head. How was she alive? I don't know. So, you know, this is way out of their expertise. They need to call Christy. Well, Christy takes a look, and they come to the conclusion that there's really only two options. They can either, because it, you know, she can't stay there, it's going to turn nighttime, and then those things are just going to come back. Only this time it'll be worse. She has a rod through her head, she's pinned there. She literally can't do anything to get away. There's only two options. Literally just yank her out of that, or swiftly perform an act of mercy and put her down. So you really have two options. You know, there also comes the question, how did she not feel any pain? I suppose the brain doesn't have pain receptors, but like the outside does. The outside of her head does. Maybe out of sheer shock, she didn't feel anything. Until later, that is. Because later on, she started screaming in pain and panic, I assume. That actually alerted Boyd to show up. And then they do the, you know, they do the gruesome thing, which is just to pull the rod out of her head. You hear her blood-curdling screams of pain. But then, once again, because this show is just a bunch of cheap... This show's a bunch of pussies for not showing gore, and also their budget just didn't cover it. The camera pans up so you don't see them pulling the rod out. It's like, god damn it. It's like, everything else was fine. Why didn't you just show us the rod coming out? You just had to pan the camera up to hide it. Do you guys? Why you want to see that, though? I'm sorry, weren't you the one saying that there would be gore that's too much for me to handle? So far, I've seen barely any gore. Do you guys remember in The Walking Dead Season 2 when Rick just yoinked Randall's leg off of the fence? We saw that in all its glory. Yeah, that was hard to watch, but at least they actually showed it on screen. Now, obviously, that was a leg. That was not the freaking head. But still. Like, I still want to see what exactly... I want to see with my own eyes what these monsters do to the human beings. Do they just Shao Kahn, shove their arms into the chest and just, you know, start ripping apart? Like, I want to see a monster reach in and pull something out. I want to see graphic detail. But so far, all we've seen is the aftermath. Now, as bad as this is for me to say, it's kind of like a car accident. You always just see the aftermath. You never see it actually happen. So yeah, somehow this Kelly character is still alive. Boyd talks to Donna, who, you know, is damn near at her breaking point. Can you really blame her, though? And then, I don't know what the point of writing this in was. I really don't see this going anywhere. Unless it does. If it does, I'll be pleasantly shocked. I really don't see this discussion going anywhere. Boyd tells Donna about, I think, the first person he killed while in service. In the army, I think. The first person that he had to take the life of. He said that person was Brian Kelly. And what a coincidence. Two people who just showed up in town were a couple named Brian and Kelly. What does that have to do with anything? Sure, that's one of the biggest coincidences ever. It's just the writers writing anything in for the sake of it. I don't see this leading to anything. So I really don't know what the point of that being written in even was. Well, that's that side of the story. We see Victor react to someone rummaging around in his room. He finds out that it was Jade, so he also realizes something's missing. He goes and finds Jade, who is like a master violinist. So he demands for his violin back. Jade now finally sharing the same screen with Victor. You know, because Victor's been here the whole time, basically. He's been here the longest, so he must know something. Jade tries to explain to Victor, this was you here, right? In this picture? You know what the symbol means, right? I think if you and I combine our minds, we can find a way to get out of here, or at least solve this mystery. Victor's just like, stay away from me. Well, small things like Jim, while resting, he, I don't know, fixes an exit sign, fixes a light, and then one of the people from the bus who's new to town, the older lady, she just shows up, and then she reveals to Jim that, you know, Christie's fiance showed up on the tour bus. It's like, what are the chances of that happening? And here's the big thing, here's the other big storyline that, where could this possibly lead? First, because the Matthews family is kind of homeless now, their house caved in, somehow digging a hole in the basement, completely messed up the entire house's foundation, making the whole thing collapse, but whatever. So now that the Matthews family is homeless, Tabitha asks Kenny's mom if she can, you know, dig through the storage for anything they can use, because all their stuff was in the house. So, Tabitha and Julie, they dig through the storage, seeing what kind of clothes they can find, what else they can find. What does Tabitha see? She sees, it turns out we're in The Shining now, because Tabitha sees two decayed little girls in dresses holding hands staring her down, but only Tabitha can see it. We're in The Shining now, apparently. I halfway expected the girls to say, come play with us. So, Tabitha tells Julie that she has visions. She sees things that aren't there. And then later on, she speaks to Nathan outside playing some building blocks. Turns out the thing, whatever the structure was that Nathan built, was something she saw when she was in the underground caves where the monsters sleep. What the fuck does any of that mean? I don't know. And then she once again sees the two shining girls. So she, panics and gets Nathan back inside. What on earth is happening? I would really like to know whatever good stuff the writers were smoking when they wrote these shows, when they wrote these episodes. It must have been that good stuff, Because I really don't know where they're going. Did I miss anything from this episode? I'm trying to think, did I miss anything? Oh, right! The ending! The ending. So, wait, who died? No, not a death happened, but I'm just thinking, who died for Kenny to do... Oh, right. So, maybe I got that wrong when I said it. Maybe that Kelly girl's alive, maybe not. Because when Boyd pulled out the rod from her head, she went limp, implying she died. Realistically, she would have died long ago, but whatever. So, Kenny has the idea, maybe I'll dig around in Father Cautry's church. Maybe he has some sort of anything that we can read at the funeral service we have to hold for this girl. So, Kenny goes into the basement of the church, he hears a noise, and then he finds Sarah down there. And then the episode ends. Alright, Sarah's back. How did she get back to the church? I'm betting it won't be explained. I bet you it'll be more off-screen explanations. I don't know, but that seems like a pretty big storyline you probably want to include. After Boyd went into the tree and vanished, what happened to Sarah? You probably want to show that on screen. What happened afterwards? How did she get back to town and into the church's basement? That seems like something pretty important to show on screen, but then again, what do I know? This show always does important moments off screen. Like the goddamn explanation about where people are stuck at. Once again, I would be less mad at the show if a certain someone didn't, for example, spoil Glenn's death and then quit the entire show. Oh, but, suddenly I'm not allowed to spoil anything on this show, and I'm not allowed to quit the show either. She actually just decided to walk back. Well, if you're actually being serious, if that's actually what happened, would that be lame? Yeah, kinda. However, would I at least be relieved? Would I at least be satisfied they showed what happened? Yes. Instead of just being off screen. You know how furious I'd be if they didn't show it, and then all we hear is Sarah say, I don't know where Boyd went, so I just walked back to town. I'd be so mad if they actually did that, if they just made her say she walked back to town. They don't show it? Oh, what a surprise. They actually do? Man. Russo brothers, please increase the show's budget. It is horrendous. The budget... Think about this for a second, folks. Imagine the show actually had a high budget. Imagine that. Can you imagine if this show actually had a decent budget? All the things that we could see? Because the concept's pretty outstanding. It has a great concept. Execution-wise, the budget really holds it back. Doesn't each season have 10 episodes? 10 episodes is a decent length to really flesh out your story. This show sucks at doing it so far. You know how much you could do in 10 episodes? How much exposition, how much learning of the story you can do, how much plot you could be telling? And then, those plots can be broken up with smaller, slow moments like, say, Ellis telling his father that he's now engaged. That'd be a great conversation to actually see. Ugh. And I feel like it would probably benefit the honestly, I feel like it would genuinely benefit this show if you just stop piling on questions and give us some answers. You gotta give us answers at some point, show. You know that, right? You can't just do, let's say, 5 seasons of nothing but mystery building, and then the final 6th season just lore dump everything. Answers everything all at once. Well, technically you can, but that would kind of suck in terms of storytelling. Like, you would have a lot of work to do if that was the case. You would need to make sure everything makes sense, everything's consistent, everything actually fits. And you have to make sure, well, you didn't leave out anything unanswered. Because if you did, and the show's over, well, you never get the answer. Sure, you can maybe have the producer, the writers, anyone behind the scenes tweet something out saying, oh, we missed this, here's the answer, blah, blah, blah. But casual audiences, they're not going to know that. They're not going to actively go online, interact with the community, and learn about that tweet. They're going to watch that show, casually of course, and if they ever think, hey wait, the show ended and that was never answered. Well, seems like a pretty missed opportunity there. Anyways, I have absolutely no idea where this story's going. There is still no season-long storyline yet. Once again, so far we're still dealing with the aftermath of the first season. One would think it would be a pretty big deal. Victor and Tabitha learning where the monsters reside during the day. One would think that's a pretty big deal, you know? It's like, hey, where did these things come from at night? Where do they stay during the day? Oh, me and her, we just came out of the cave where they do. What? You didn't think to tell us that before? We could sneak in during the day and try to investigate. Yes, that's risky. But, you know, it's something. I mean, hey, here's an idea. Bullets don't work. I highly doubt anyone's tried fire. What if they go in during the day? They just douse the place in whatever gasoline they have left, and then they just light it ablaze. Would fire kill these things? At this moment, we don't know. Maybe it would. You'll get an answer in this season. Me getting answers from this show? I'll believe it when I see it. And hey, if some brave soul is willing to risk their lives, what if someone went into that cave during the day, made a nice loud noise? Would they wake up? Like you can, I don't know, fire a bullet into there and run for dear life. Let's see if anything wakes up. Because if they don't wake up during the day, if they are dead asleep during the day, hey, how about you drag one out and try to, I don't know, dissect it? Try to see anything you can find out? Then again, what would dissecting it really do? You can't exactly drag it into town, into a house, and chop it up into bits. Well, I guess you could, but just not in a house. Because once it turns dark, it'll wake up for sure, and then you're already trapped inside with it. Yeah, it would be stupid in a house, right? And hey, you know what? As if the dead bodies weren't enough to prove to everyone new in town that this shit is real. What if you... Because we literally saw that during the day in the cave under under the town, when these monsters are asleep, we see their real form, not their human disguises. So what if you dragged one of them out, you show the doubters, here, does this thing look human to you? No? Alright, now you gotta believe us. Now you gotta believe this is real. And this thing right here will kill you at night. Or if you're lucky, shove a rod in your head and you miraculously survive. You know, what'll happen? You know, it's like a lot of questions that these guys could have answered. What would happen if you trapped one of these things inside a building alone with the talisman? Can that thing not get out? Would that thing be powerless to attack maybe? Well, probably not that one. But like, what would happen? You know, you don't know. What if you dragged one into a house, lock it with a talisman, and then you observe throughout the night? Will it just open the door and casually walk out, despite a talisman being there? It'll just knock it over and let others in. Well, obviously, you don't be in the house while that happens. Like, you know, you sacrifice one house for the night, everyone vacate the house for the night, you leave, or not, what about a barn? What about the shed, the barn? And yeah, like you said, what if the talisman's outside? Is there concrete proof the talisman must be hung up? Or can it just lie on the ground, right? Why does it have to be hung up? Whoops. You see, there are a lot of questions that these guys could answer. Any knowledge on these monsters would be a benefit. Why is no one thinking about this? Actually, let me rephrase that. Why is specifically Victor not thinking about this? Let me rephrase that again. Why is Tabitha not thinking about this? Because I'll give the benefit of the doubt. No one in town, aside from Victor and Tabitha, knows where these monsters sleep at night. Whoops. So if Tabitha I feel like clearly Victor's not going to tell anyone. He just wants to survive. He's not really interested in finding answers. I feel like Tabitha, if she really thought about this, they could actually think about stuff like this. What do you mean because they already did? And hey, here's an idea. Here is an idea. We've only seen a handful of the monsters, right? We constantly see that milkman dressed up one show up. We see the dude with the giant smile show up. It seems like there's only a set number of them. But let's be generous. Let's say there's 100 of these things out there. And no more. You find a way to kill one, you find a way to kill them all. We don't know. It's kind of like Titans. We don't know how they spawn, they just show up. Until they learned, you know, Marley doused them all with spinal fluid, you know. But at the moment, they don't know how these things actually, quote-unquote, reproduce and respawn. What if they can't die, though? Well, at least they know. At least they discovered it. Try killing one with stuff aside from bullets, and learn. If you cannot kill them, great. Now we know for a fact. Let's focus on surviving and thinking of a way to get out of here, instead of that lingering question, can we even kill these things if bullets don't work? Would alternative ways work? Think about this stuff, people! You want me to theory craft? Here, I'm theory crafting. Or rather, I'm posing questions that the show clearly didn't think about. At least not yet. Let me ask you this. Everything I just brought up, did you ever consider this? You said you liked the show for the theory crafting. Did you ever think about the stuff I just said? I will literally applaud if the show, they actually start discussing this stuff. It's like, yes, the people in this town are not complete idiots. Yeah, it's been answered, bro. Just watch. Hey, let me ask you one thing, by the way. Did you ever do this for me? The shows I recommended, did you ever discuss them to this degree with me? Did you ever think about the shows that I suggested to this level? Did you ever pick up on clues and stuff that was given in the show? Did you ever think about questions that the show could go towards in the future? Instead of just spoiling it, and instead of just quitting the show overall, did you ever theory craft? Did you ever discuss it in depth with me to this degree? Buddy, you listing out all the shows I recommended and you quit? That's not helping your case. You said The Walking Dead Season 1 and 2. Yeah, you complained it was boring 5 minutes in. Here, spoiled boy. How about this? Since you basically spoiled the show, and even if I say something you didn't know, well, you're not gonna watch the damn show anyways. What about the Season 4 finale, huh? With Terminus. You know how much theory crafting there was when Season 4 ended and we were waiting for Season 5? The way Season 4 ended? Of course you didn't make it to that point. You quit the show after Season freaking 2. You see, folks, I would be less mad at this show if I wasn't treated like absolute shit. You know? Spoiled all the shows I recommended. Quit all the shows I recommended. Anyway, so I just gave you a whole bunch of theory crafting, you know, the stuff that you won't give me in return. Wow, must be nice, huh? Must be a nice feeling. Seeing a friend of yours engage in a show that you recommended, that you are passionate about. Seeing just how much energy is put into actually thinking about the show. Must be nice. Wow, if only I was given the same treatment, Is there anything else to talk about this goddamn show? Or can I move on with my life? The bugs in his arm, that didn't really lead to anything in this episode. So there's nothing for me to discuss in this episode about that. Oh yeah, there was this one scene. It was nice, I guess, even if it really didn't lead to anything. So Boyd went back to Abby's grave, her secluded grave, and, you know, he's kind of questioning his own sanity. He's like, what if I'm just in a hospital bed and you and Ellis are standing by my side, begging me to wake up? Because even he's questioning, how could someone chained up to a place that doesn't exist possibly know your name, Abby? So Boyd really questions his own sanity. Can't blame the guy. Nothing in this show makes sense. Anyways, Boyd's arm, what do you think about it? You think it's important? At this point, I don't know. It could be either way. It could be a stupid outcome, or it could be something very integral to the plot. It's a coin flip at this point. After everything I've seen with this show, it could be anything. It could literally be anything. Frickin' Godzilla could spawn out of his arm. How would that make sense? Nothing in this show has made sense so far. I may actually shed full-on tears if I see like a giant CGI monster just show up. I may just shed tears like, oh my god, I'm so done with this show. I'm done. Whoever wrote this show is absolutely high out of their mind. There's only so much written down onto paper insanity I can take. In terms of asking me where I think the bugs in Boyd's arm is gonna lead, unless I smoke that good stuff the writers were on, I can't tell you. Anyway, so let me move on from this godforsaken topic. Let me really quickly glance over this secret level episode, and then I'll talk about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the show that this douchebag said he was going to watch for whatever reason. Out of all the shows, he watches this one, which I bet you he hasn't even started yet and he won't actually watch. Go ahead, prove me wrong. So I need to look up which episode this was. I think it was the Spelunky episode. Which one was this? Episode 11 or 12? This was episode 12, right? Yeah, episode 12, Spelunky. Another game franchise I have no idea what is. So I don't even know the character's name. We follow this borderline Dora the Explorer character as she tries to get out of this almost temple run kind of place. She and this other character are trapped here. Every time they try to escape, well, the path changes and they die every time. However, video game fashion, every time they die, they respawn back at the starting point. So, you know, they try and try and try again, but, you know, they keep on dying. Rather, the younger girl character, she's the one who keeps on attempting and dying. You know, she just brushes off death. She doesn't think it's a big deal, because every time she dies, trying to escape, she just respawns back. At least she looks at it positively. The other character, you know, she marks how many attempts she has died. And there are hundreds of thousands of marks on the wall. Eventually, the young girl character, she begins to lose the passion, the fire, the hope that she will actually make it out of here, because she just keeps on failing. But then, one motivational speech later, she gets motivated and tries again. That is basically the episode. It was very short. It was like 8 minutes long. That is pretty much the gist of it. They keep trying to escape, they keep dying, and they keep respawning and trying again. That's basically what happened. Was it worth waiting days for me to talk about this episode? Because, let's see, for this being episode 12? Yeah, this being episode 12, that means I only have 3 episodes left. Up next is the freaking Concord episode. That I'm excited to see. Concord had a very, very short lifespan before it was, you know, taken off of its misery. Taken out of its misery, had the plug pulled. And now we have an entire freaking episode dedicated to this game's very, very short lifespan. So I'm very curious to see what did they do to memorialize this amazing mark in history for gaming. So yeah, after a couple days, I'm finally able to watch the Concord episode. Really excited to see what they possibly could have done here. Alright, let us finally talk about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You already know me. I had my reservations watching this show. People online saying it's good. So, you know, I've only seen the first episode. It's okay. It's not fantastic, but it's also not absolute garbage. At least it's only the first episode. I need to watch more to decide. Was this episode wokeified? Absolutely. It was hella woked up. But at least this time it was somewhat subtle. So, indeed, the character we saw in the trailer is Harry Osborn. And I gotta... Now that it's confirmed he is Harry Osborn instead of all of us speculating, I have to say, with absolute sincerity, he looks terrible. His character design is awful. No offense to anyone out there who actually looks like this version of Harry Osborn. It's just, this isn't Harry Osborn. This just isn't how he's supposed to look. And before any, left-wing liberals say, you're saying he's not supposed to look black? Yes. Are you happy? You want me to say it straight up? Yes. Norman and Harry Osborn are not supposed to look black. You happy now? There, I said it. Cry about it. Harry Osborn is not supposed to look like that. So his character design is terrible. Let's talk about the actual plot of the episode. Remember, this show was meant to be a prequel to Tom Holland's live-action Spider-Man in the MCU. It was supposed to be his origin story, because at first it was titled Spider-Man Freshman Year. By the time we meet Tom Holland's Peter Parker, I believe he's like second year of high school. So we never got to see his first year of high school. So the show was meant to be an origin story leading up to the point in Civil War where he meets Tony Stark. It was supposed to be an origin story, but then they changed it. They changed it to take place in a separate universe, its own secluded continuity. I gotta say, not the biggest fan of that, but nothing I can do to change that. So, let's see. The basic plot of the episode. First, as always, we get Peter Parker. He wakes up late to school, so Aunt May has to call him. On his way, he misses the bus, the subway bus, to get to school. So he looks at his bag with a smile, thinking like, I could just pull out my Spider-Man suit and I can just swing to Midtown High. I obviously knew that was a fake out because he hadn't become Spider-Man yet. So I knew when he opened his bag it wasn't going to be a suit. Instead, he was just looking at the breakfast Aunt May made him. Aunt May shows up and then, drives Peter to school. And then this real head-scratcher moment happens. We see a portal open up right before Midtown High. Also, Peter is going to his high school, orientation. So there's that. So a portal opens and a venomized something comes out. I don't know what venom has taken over. At first I thought it was Kraven the Hunter, but I thought it was Kraven because of the, the bushy collar that Kraven wears. But then he had more like a praying mantis body. It's just like, I have no idea what venom merged with to form this. So, aside from venomized something coming out of the portal, a Doctor Strange variant also comes out and fights Venom, completely trashing Midtown High. Well, in the kerfuffle, Peter meets Nico Minoru. What was her last name again? I think it was Minoru. Not Zelda's Minoru, Nico Minoru. Yeah, Minoru. So Peter meets Nico Minoru, and then while they're meeting, also a spider comes out of the portal. So that alone raises a shit ton of questions. So the spider, the radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker did not originate in this universe. It came from another universe. Spider-Verse style. So this Peter Parker is an anomaly. He's an anomaly. He's not supposed to be Peter Parker. What? This Peter Parker is not supposed to be Spider-Man, at least not this method. If that spider came from another universe, that meant whoever was meant to be Spider-Man in that universe was not bit by the spider, thus not becoming a Spider-Man. Thank you, Spider-Verse, for, you know, paving the road for us. So, yeah, Peter gets bit by the spider, he gets knocked out, he faints. We see someone pick up his bag with the spider still on it, but we don't see who. And then we get a time skip. A few months later, now that Peter has, you know, known his powers and even made his own homemade suit, which I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of the suit, but I like it more than the MCU's homemade suit, because I absolutely hate that suit. The homemade Tom Holland Spider-Man suit, I hate it. It is so ugly. I absolutely despise that suit. I may not really like this suit, but I definitely enjoy it better than the live-action homemade suit we got, because that suit was terrible. I hate that suit so much. So anyways. And also, this was a nice moment, because Uncle Ben has been criminally neglected in the MCU. So, you know, when Aunt May was dropping off Peter for the orientation, Peter brings up, you know, he could use a distraction after Uncle Ben, showing his appreciation to Aunt May. So, hey, an Uncle Ben reference is always a W, because, once again, Uncle Ben has been criminally neglected in the MCU. I don't know why Feige just has a hate boner for, you know, Kevin Feige has a hate boner for Uncle Ben. One of the most important characters in Spider-Man's story. Whatever. You know, we did get basically the same thing in the main MCU. There was a small nod to Uncle Ben, however, they never even said his name. Peter said, I believe to Ned, like, after everything that's happened, implying Uncle Ben, but he didn't even say Uncle Ben, right? Ugh. So yeah, Peter now having became Spider-Man. Once again, he's late to school, only this time he actually does open his bag, pull out his suit, and swing over to school, thinking that he'll make it on time. Nope. He gets sidetracked by saving Harry Osborn from a whole bunch of bullies. I do not like this Harry Osborn design, but it is what it is. They woke up the show. Alright, so Peter finally gets to school, and then he runs into his crush. And at first, everyone, thanks to like the trailer, we thought it was MJ, you know, modeled after Zendaya, but no, it's not. And I am very unfamiliar with this character, so I have to look up her name once again. Forgive me. Okay, I can't even find the character's name. God, what was the character's name? Pearl Pangan, that was her name. Pearl, right. So Peter has a crush on this girl named Pearl, who is like, I think 3 years older than him. And I hate to be the one to say this, you know, but, you know, so far the MCU Peter Parker has really shown he has a thing for girls of a slightly darker pigmentation. First Liz, and then MJ, and then turns out in his freshman year he had a crush on Pearl. So yeah, Peter Parker definitely is into like darker girls. Nothing wrong with that. Just something interesting to point out. Well, it's not like you really need... It's not something that really needs to be pointed out. So Peter has his crush on this girl named Pearl Pangan. I don't really know a lot about this character. You know, he and Nico are friends now. So, you know, they discuss how Pearl basically babysat for Peter. Peter plans to ask her out before it's too late, before someone else asks her out. Well, in class, Peter asks to be excused because he hears a police chase happening outside. Now, Peter, you don't need to go for every single crime in the city, right? You don't have to do every single one. But whatever. So this car chase actually turns out to be the car save we saw Peter do in the scene Tony Stark had in Civil War. When Tony first met Peter, he showed footage of Peter saving a bus from a car. We now see the context behind that. And then when he gets back, you know, he gets back to class. They're doing, like, I think chemistry class. They need to pair up. Well, actually, first of all, wait. After the save, Peter decides he finally brought up the guts to, you know, ask out Pearl. But then Nico stops him saying, well, someone already beat you to it. Anyway, so who asked out Peter's crush? None other than Lonnie Lincoln, aka Tombstone. Now, someone correct me if I'm wrong. Is Tombstone black? Has he been black in the comics? Someone actually let me know, because I don't know too much about, you know, the character of Lonnie Lincoln before he becomes Tombstone, so I don't really know much about Lonnie Lincoln. So someone correct me, someone just inform me, was he ever black? If not, well, another character woke up. So yeah, Lonnie Lincoln, he's the one who asked out Peter's crush. And then he actually volunteers to pair up with Peter Parker during chemistry class. Lonnie Lincoln being a football star, I think, an athlete. He says he wants different options because he's actually a smart guy. And then he heard from his girlfriend, Pearl, that Peter's really smart too, so he wanted to pair up with Peter. Ain't that a weird position to be in? You're now friends with your crush's boyfriend. It's kind of weird. And you know, here's some more super woke moments. Oh, so it's, you know, after school, Peter's going home. He and Lonnie say goodbye, and then we see Lonnie's smile go from obviously a smile to sadness. He very sadly walks back home, takes the subway back home. It's like, okay, what's going on in your life, buddy? What's got you down, pal? He rides the subway back home. This little kid comes up to him, but then I assume the mother's like, you know, stay away from him. And then, as Lonnie walks towards his home in the neighborhood, a police car just tails him and the cop just stares him down. Now, yes, is it a meme? Is it, internet culture that cops are racist to black people? Yeah, but like, really? Come on, writers, really? You really had to include that in there? I feel like, you know how people online say they watch shows to escape from reality? They don't want to watch shows to be reminded about just how bad and cruel and evil this world is. I'm sure. Now, I don't want to speak on behalf of black people. I just would like to assume or think that black people watching this show, I don't think they want to be reminded that, hey, the cops don't treat us very good. The police in real life treat us badly because of our skin color. I don't think a lot of people who are black watching this show would really like to be reminded of that. So good job, show. Nice going. Yep. Hope you guys are proud of what you wrote, because you had absolutely no reason to write that in. Well, we see Lonnie go back home, and it's pretty simple, pretty chill. Just him and his family. Nothing really too bad, right? Looks like a normal New York family, just living life. Nothing really bad there. Well, Peter, now as Spider-Man, he returns money that was stolen from this pizza guy. The pizza memes. It's pizza time when it comes to Spider-Man. The lady who robbed the pizza place owner, she's just like, I just lost my job. When I saw the money, I couldn't help myself, and I'm sorry I stole from you. Peter, being the nice guy, tries to advocate for her. It's like, sir, she made a mistake. If you can forgive her, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so yeah, the pizza place, the pizza guy, offer Peter some pizza on the house for his good deed, returning the money. It's almost kind of reminded me of like GTA 5 random missions. How you're playing around in GTA 5 and you'll randomly get a mission, a random city moment where someone stole an NPC's wallet and you have the choice: return the wallet or run off with it. Kind of reminded me of that. So Peter, now with free pizza, he changes back to his normal Peter Parker clothes in an alleyway, and then, well, he sees like a DVD player in the dumpster, perfectly fine. So, Peter just takes it. And then we get the scene where we first meet Peter Parker in Civil War, with the same song playing too. Peter, with a dumpster-dived DVD player, walks back to, home where Aunt May is, says damn near the same things too. It's like, this crazy car parked outside. But this time, in this universe, it's not Tony Stark, it's Coleman Domingo. I mean, it's Norman Osborn. So, you can basically say that some moments in this universe are the things that happened to our Tom Holland Spider-Man in live action. We saw the events leading up to him saving that bus from the car. We saw the moments leading up to him showing up back home with Tony Stark waiting there and the crazy car parked outside. Moments like that, you can basically say the same thing happened to our Peter Parker. Now, I would like to discuss this part, not about the episode, but just the show overall for a second. Nexus events off the wazoo. I would like to remind you guys that when it comes to the way the multiverse works, the way it's been set up in the MCU, it's not just one Nexus event that causes a branch, it could be multiple. Because remember, a branch timeline could also then spawn another branch, thus 2 Nexus events, and so on. 2 Nexus events, 3, 100, 1,000 Nexus events. So there could be tons and tons of Nexus events that drastically changed this timeline from our main MCU timeline. Case in point, a lot of stuff. Honestly, a lot of stuff. How about the fact that we know in this show, several villains are gonna show up? Villains that we've never seen in the MCU, like goddamn Norman Osborn. We can assume, let's say these guys weren't born in the main MCU, so there's your several Nexus events. A lot of villains were actually born in this universe. And hey, how about this Nexus event? Nico Minoru going to Midtown High instead of Atlas Academy. So, you know, she's not a part of the Runaways in this universe. She's a part of Peter Parker's storyline. So, you know, in this universe, if the Runaways even form, they're not going to have Nico Minoru as a part of it. So yeah, technically this universe could still be, and actually is, by fact, is actually a branch from the MCU timeline, just with several, and I mean several, Nexus events. I mean, remember the what if ending? What Nexus event could possibly lead to, say, Thanos as a part of the Weapon X program, right? Anything is possible in the multiverse. And then we also know that, you know, certain other events happened in this universe. Maybe they happened in the original universe and we just never saw it. It was never shown. Like, say, Daredevil interacting with Spider-Man. Couple episodes into season 1 of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we're going to see Daredevil, voiced by Charlie Cox, interact with Spider-Man. But that can't be right. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter met, you know, Matt Murdock for the first time. Well, Peter wouldn't know Matt Murdock is Daredevil. So what if in the main MCU, Spider-Man actually did interact with Daredevil at one point? We just never saw it, we just never heard about it. You know, we never did see Spider-Man's freshman year in the main MCU. What if he actually did interact with Daredevil during that time? We just didn't see it, we just didn't hear about it. You know, Daredevil would not have known Peter Parker was under the suit. Neither would Peter Parker know that Matt Murdock was under the suit. Until, you know, several years later, Spider-Man No Way Home, the events of that movie rolls around, and then they meet each other unmasked. Would that mean that, you know, several years later, Matt Murdock would realize the person he met years ago, Spider-Man, was, you know, Peter Parker? Yep. You know who I'm actually rooting for? Honestly? It's not Peter and Pearl. I'm kind of rooting for Peter and Nico. Didn't Peter Parker and Nico Minoru have a relationship in the comics before? I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And you know what else they could do? I would have to double check if the continuity even works with this. Freshman year. We never saw it in the MCU. what if Nico actually went to Midtown High for her freshman year and then she moved to Atlas Academy for the rest of high school, thus forming the Runaways? And hey, freshman year, we don't see Liz Allen or MJ Walters. What? No, it's not Mary Jane. Wait. Whatever. Mary Jane Walters? Did I just say that? Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. Like freshman year, what if Liz Allen and, MJ just didn't move to the school yet? Oh, my power's almost out. So, Peter Parker's second year, Nico moves away. Liz and MJ join the school, join the program, join the curriculum, join the year. You know what I'm trying to say. Right? They could do that. Though I kind of doubt they will. Alright, let me charge this real quick. Anyways, what did you guys think about Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? I don't know a lot of Tombstone storylines. Has there ever been a story where Tombstone was a classmate of Peter Parker? All the stories I know Tombstone from, isn't he significantly older than Peter Parker? Isn't he an adult crime boss? Compared to Peter Parker, who, is at high school or college age, depending on the story. And I also really wonder, will Nico get her staff? Her, magic staff, since her family has witchcraft roots. Remember in Runaways, her mother's witch staff only works for her mother. It only works for her mother's DNA. Though Nico, being obviously her daughter's mother, half of her DNA works as well. Alright, I'm gonna play a little bit more upbeat music for the final 5 minutes. Now, yes, both episodes, 2 episodes of Spider-Man came out at once. I only saw the first episode for now. And then I looked at the release schedule. Let me pull it up again. I looked at the release schedule, so it seems like obviously the first 2 episodes were going to air at once. And then a week from Yeah, a week later, 3 episodes gonna come out, and then another 3 episodes the following week, and then the final 2 episodes the week after are gonna release at the same time. So for 10 episodes, it's only gonna release in the span of 4 weeks. What a terrible release schedule. 10 episodes released in 4 weeks. That schedule is horrible. You know what I wish they would have done more for the multiverse saga? Is more multiverse stories. I mean, let's think. How many multiverse projects were really in the multiverse saga? We had Loki, What If, Multiverse of Madness, if you really want to count it, The Marvels, specifically the post-credit scene. We had, well, I suppose this, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And then a couple of projects that have not yet come out, as of right now. Marvel Zombies, so that's a continuation of the What If episode. Fantastic Four, that's gonna be its own thing. I really wish they did more, you know? More, basically like one-off standalone movies confirmed to be in the multiverse that will connect at like Secret Wars. Like imagine if we got a solo Henry Cavill Wolverine story and then we, you know, it's self-contained, no crossovers whatsoever, and then Secret Wars we see him show back up. I wish we got more stories like that. More standalone one-off stories confirmed to take place in the multiverse that will all come together. Or how about some live action series, you know? Do what people hoped for Legends of Tomorrow. Instead of time travel, give us a show that travels to different universes. Different universes in the multiverse to show different events. Now that would be ultra expensive to do, I know. But just imagine the potential, you know? So, not too many projects in the multiverse saga that actually relate to the multiverse. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Eternals, Moon Knight, Hawkeye, Daredevil Born Again. Not a lot actually really contribute to the multiverse saga. Actually have multiverse. Oh yeah, obviously Spider-Man No Way Home. How could I possibly forget the biggest one? Also, Ant-Man Quantumania. Well, I'm going to end soon. We're just about to hit 2.5 hours. We're about to hit midnight. Maybe 1 or 2 resets. 1 or 2 more resets, and then I'll call it for tonight. I'll do 1 last reset, and then I'll call it for tonight. It is midnight now. It's the dark hour. Alright, last one for tonight. Alright, nothing. See you guys next time.